Subscribe to the channel and click on bell icon for continued updates.
So, non-residents do not get benefit of slab rates, but residents get. So, come to chapter 2. Okay. What is the first word you see in the chapter 2? Citizenship not equal to residential status. Okay. In income tax, first chapter we saw tax rates. The tax rates we were living on resident or non-resident. Were we talking in citizen of India and non-citizen of India? No. So we are completely not concerned with citizenship. Samjha ke nahi samjha? We are not concerned with citizenship. We are concerned with residential status. So below 60 years of age, an individual, and you are giving him 2.5 lakhs benefit, or 2.5 lakhs it begins with. He has to be what? He has to be a resident. Okay. And irrespective of age, if he is a non-resident, again his tax rates are from 2.5 lakhs. Yes. Again, rebate benefit only to resident individual and not to non-resident. So there will be difference between individual resident and individual non-resident. Samajh rahe ho? Very good. So who is a resident and who is a non-resident? This first of all completely doesn't depend on citizenship. Is it clear? What do you mean by citizenship? You get citizenship by birth. Maybe you get migrated to some other country. You get citizenship right of that country. You get voting rights of that country, so on and so on. Yes? So there are so many Indians who have migrated to USA since decades. Yes? Are you following? Who might have been born here or whose parents were born here and now they are migrated to USA since decades. And now since decades, now they are also citizen of USA. We call them as person of Indian origin. Person of Indian origin. Okay. In that case, their origin is from India, but now they have become citizen of US. Are you following? They get whatever that green card or their passport or whatever that is, or basically voting rights also of USA. Are you following? Do they have citizenship of India as they had initially, but now they have citizenship of USA. And depending on whatever the rules of citizenship, you may not have two citizenship, that is separate rules, but they have now citizenship of USA. Are you following? Clear? Okay. So whether to tax that person as resident or non-resident, it doesn't depend on citizenship. Samajh rahe ho? So every Indian has to pay tax. That is not the case. So those Indians, let us say, who have migrated to USA since couple of decades now and have not come to India, will you tax them? No, they are outside only. You will call them as resident or non-resident? You will call them as non-resident. So what is the meaning of this word resident? Residency means what now? It means from where you are or wherever you are staying. You are resident right now of a particular city. Your main location or your native place may be something else or some other city. Just like you have permanent address and temporary address. Are you following? So temporary address means you can say residency, wherever you are residing right now. Are you following? So whether a resident or not, that depends on wherever a person is residing. Are you understanding? So only and only if a person is residing in India, in that case we can call him as resident. Okay. Obviously there are more complex rules than that. But if a person, even if of Indian origin, if he is not residing in India, then we call him as non-resident. Samajh rahe ho? So just because a person may have an Indian citizenship, you may not call him a resident. Are you following? And similarly or exactly opposite, a person not having Indian citizenship, he can be Indian resident for income tax purpose. I am repeating. A person not having Indian citizenship, a foreigner, an American, an Australian, a Japanese, anybody, okay, he can be Indian resident for income tax purpose. Understood this? So don't keep this in mind that foreigners cannot file income tax returns of India, that foreigners cannot pay tax in India, that foreigners cannot apply for PAN in India. This is a wrong concept. Understood? Are you following? So citizenship has nothing to do with income tax or residency in India. Is it clear? That's why when you had asked, how can persons file income tax return from outside India? That means those income tax returns are filed by non-residents also. Okay? So don't use the word citizenship in this chapter. We are concerned with residency. Are you following? Check residence and scope of total income. Check left hand side first of the table. Residential status given in section 2. Page 2.1 everyone. 2.1. On the left hand side of the table, what do you see? Residential status section 6. Again on the left hand side of that, what do you see? Individuals or HUFs. Very good. Under individual and HUF, what do you see? Resident and non-resident. And do we have any subtypes of non-residents? No, but we have subtypes of resident. Resident and ordinarily resident, as well as resident but not ordinarily resident. Okay? So like I said, chapter 1 was warm up. Okay? Now we'll start with core of the chapter. Okay? So what are we deciding? Whether, let us focus first only on individual and HUF. That also particularly only on individuals. Whether an individual is a resident or non-resident. Yes? And if he is a resident, we can have further types. What are the further types? Resident but and ordinary resident, and secondly resident but not ordinarily resident. समझ रहे हो? तो resident के बाद क्या है? बार बार रहता है. So ordinarily he is a resident of India. And second category क्या है? Resident but he is not ordinarily staying or resident of India. Are you following? So जो कभी कभी आता है जाता है, कभी कभी आता है जाता है, he may be RNOR, resident and not ordinarily resident. समझ रहे हो? और जो यहाँ पे इंडिया में है resides and ordinarily most of the times he is in India, we call him ROR, resident and ordinarily resident. समझ रहे हो? और ये जो दोनों कैटेगरी में नहीं है, whoever doesn't fall in the category of resident, he becomes non-resident. Understood this? Yes. So from chapter 1, we had done bifurcation only between resident and non-resident. Are you following? So only at first level we can do the bifurcation, resident and non-resident for income tax rates. But if you have to decide whether he is actually ROR or RNOR, we have to go a little bit further. Are you understanding? The importance is that section 5. Yes? There are 3 columns made. Which one? ROR, resident and ordinarily resident. Okay? Next column is resident but not ordinarily resident. And third category is directly non-resident. What is the normal meaning of ordinarily resident? Matlab he is here. Ordinarily or majority of the time he is a resident. And not ordinarily means what? Not most of the time he is in India. Are you following? He means now anybody irrespective of citizenship. Is it clear? We are discussing case of individual now. Okay, बच्चों. Before that table you can check the diagram. उसके ऊपर residential status check. Individual or HUF. Under individual or HUF you can have resident or non-resident. Page 2.2 diagram. And under resident you can have ROR or RNOR. Is it okay? But for firms, AOP, local authorities, company, what you can have? Only 2 categories. Which one? Resident and non-resident. That's it. Is it okay? Fine. Check on that again. Section 5. Scope of total income. First one, ROR. What is it saying? Income received or deemed to be received, accrued or arisen or deemed to accrue or arise in or outside India. It will be taxable. That is, global income is taxable. Which category is? ROR. So if a person is ROR, that means whatever income he earns, whether in India, outside India, deemed to be received in India, outside India, any kind of income, all of his income will be taxed. Understood? Taxed where? In India. We are learning Indian income tax law. Okay? Second column is of RNOR, resident but not ordinarily resident. Now check which incomes are taxable of this person. Okay, there is a difference. Income which is received, deemed to be received, accrued or arisen, deemed to accrue or arise in India. Okay, in India. And income which accrues or arises outside India, being derived from a business controlled from or profession set up in India. Right now, temporarily forget the second part, and ke aage wala. Just focus on first paragraph. What does it say? What is important over there? In India. That pay attention now. That income which accrued or arised only in India, that income is taxed off RNOR. Compare that with ROR. Any income within India, outside India. That's why we call it as whatever income he earns, global income, that will be taxed in India. Kiska? Whose? ROR. But what about RNOR? Only those which he has received or deemed to be received, accrued or arise in where? In India only. Okay. Now for RNOR, check separate. Once exceptional items are given, check. Income which accrued or arises outside India. Okay. Are you following? In India, outside India at least? So the source of income is source in India or outside India in the second situation? Outside India. Very good. But from that business or profession which was controlled or set up in India. Are you following? So let us say there is a company in India. It has a branch outside India. Branch outside India. Let us say in Africa. Is it okay? A person earned income from that African company. Is it okay? But that African company was managed or controlled from India. Okay. So if a person is RNOR, even this income will be taxed in India. Understanding? It will be deemed that it has been arised in India. Are you following? So any income which has arisen in India, that is taxed for RNOR, yes or no? Yes. Any income which is accrued outside India, is it taxable? Only in two situations. Which one? He has earned that income from a business or profession which was set up or controlled from India. So only if there is an Indian connection to that, that income will be taxed. Are you following? Don't forget that income is getting accrued or generated outside India in special situation for RNOR. What about ROR? Income arised in India or income arised outside India, doesn't matter. Income can be of anywhere, it will be still taxed in India. Is it okay? Very good. And what about NR, non-resident? Only that income in India. Income received or deemed to be received or accrued or arisen and deemed to accrue or arise in India. That means for non-resident, if only he has some Indian connection, the source of income, it is getting generated in India, only then that income is also taxed in India. Are you following? So isn't the first line common for all three of them? Isn't the first line common for all three of them? ROR, RNOR, NR. So what analysis you can do? Whichever income which is getting generated in India. Very good. That is taxed in India. That means the source or the income generation place is India. That will be taxed. Are you following? So can you tell me, if the source of income is outside India, whether a non-resident will be taxed in India? No. Very good. Are you following? Income source is outside India, received to non-resident, it has no Indian connection, it will not be taxed in India. Are you following little bit? Yes? So there are how many categories for individual or HUF when it comes to residency? 3. ROR, RNOR, NR. Is it clear? Very good. Now, how to decide who is who? That you have to decide now. Okay? Pay attention. Resident and resident, this is common. Okay? Resident and resident, this is common. So for chapter 1, whatever calculation you have done, for resident, it can be either of it, ROR or RNOR. Are you following? Only the last situation you have done for non-resident, what? Irrespective of age, you had given basic accession limit of 2.5 lakhs. That will fall over non-resident. Are you following? Yes? Come to that again, columns, पर उसके नीचे ROR must satisfy what? At least one of the basic conditions and both of the additional conditions. Okay? So there are two conditions, two set of conditions. One is what? Basic condition, and another is additional condition. Yes or no? Okay? So there are two sets of conditions, basic and additional. Under both of them there are again two conditions. Okay? Tell me when you will treat ROR. What all situations? ROR. Check. Must satisfy at least one of the basic condition. Pay attention. At least one means what? One or more. Okay. Is it correct? Three situations. Is it correct? Three situations. At least one means what? Are you understanding tick mark not and not tick mark? Condition number 1 met. Condition number 2 not met in basic condition and similarly. Okay? Okay. And what does it say about additional condition? Both the conditions should be satisfied. So there is no option in additional condition. Understood? In this situation, are you following what is happening? Nahi? Nahi samjha. It's okay. Have you understood there are three categories: ROR, RNOR and NR. For ROR to be a person or individual to be categorized, or individual only to be categorized as ROR, there is again I have given you condition. Check below ROR. What does it say? Repeat after me. Must satisfy, bolo, at least one of the basic conditions. Till that only. Pay attention. At least one means what? One or more. There are how many conditions in basic conditions? 2. Yes. So first situation, pay attention. Is basic condition number 1 met? When I do tick mark, it means what? Yes, it is met. Will that do? Is it okay? With basic condition, any problem? He must satisfy at least one. One is satisfied? Yes. And आगे उसके क्या लिखा है? And both the additional conditions. In additional, there is no option. Both of them have to be satisfied. Are you understanding? And then I have done all the permutation and combination. There is no option in additional conditions, but basic condition at least one. So basic condition number 1 met, second not met. Or basic condition number 1 not met, second met. Or both of them met. Understood? Met matlab we'll see what are those conditions, that is yet to be seen. Understood? In that case, it will be treated as ROR. Write down this. Individual, give heading. Individual residency status. Individual residency status. So tick mark means what? Condition met or not met. And cross means condition not met. Smart. So only in this situation you can say individual can be ROR. Yes. Which income is taxable of ROR? Global income. Simple words, global income. All income is taxable of ROR. कुछ भी ऑन करने दो, किधर का भी ऑन करने दो. If an individual is ROR, taxed in India. Okay. Check second column now. RNOR. Okay. What does it say? Income deemed or accrued only in India or accrued outside India, but that income was controlled from a business or profession which was set up in India. Okay. But to be RNOR, check the situation. Must satisfy at least one of the basic conditions. So tell me, in basic conditions, whether there is any discrimination between ROR and RNOR. Read, okay? Read properly. And all of you, don't be so casual now. RNOR, what does it say? Must satisfy at least one of the basic conditions. So it is similar to your ROR. So only these three situations again. Yes. But what does it talk about additional condition? One or none. One or none of the additional conditions. Yes or no? So must satisfy one or none. मतलब क्या, कहाँ पे क्रॉस मार्क आएगा? लेट अस से यहाँ पे और ये दोनों पे क्रॉस मार्क. Yes or no? Read again, refer to this diagram and check whether it is right or not. So basic condition both have to be met, compulsory? No, at least one is okay. Very good. And what about additional conditions? One or none, that is opposite now. Okay. And what if we satisfy both of it, additional conditions also? Very good. He becomes ROR. Right? So like I said, in ROR, no option in additional conditions. Yes or no? Earlier it was all tick mark in additional conditions. Yes? So in additional condition, even if there is cross off, what will happen? RNOR. Very good. Yes, very good. And check NR in that column, page 2.2. Must not satisfy either of the basic conditions. Must not satisfy either of the basic conditions. So do we basically go to additional conditions? No, we don't even go to additional conditions. Okay, for non-resident. Both the conditions should not be satisfied. This will go, or this tick mark we can write it as cross mark. Both the basic conditions not met. Yes? Alright? And if only one is met, it can be now ROR or RNOR. Then we further check additional conditions. So, NR is blocked at first level only. Additional conditions both not met. So, definitely we don't check additional conditions. But out of this, even if one is met, he becomes ROR or RNOR. Then we have to go and check what? Additional condition to exactly define ROR आएगा या RNOR होगा. Yes, are you following?